Hey people, it's Nias talking. Now, this is just an informal talk. I want to just get a few things off my mind I've experienced in the last few days. And the topic of this video is giving up too easy. Now, I want to start with a couple of incidents and just explain. Now, I was at work and I was talking with a Nigerian woman. Well, she was from Nigeria, but she was British mostly. She grew up here. She came when she was 6, and she talked about she wanted to be a public speaker, she wanted to help people, she wanted to motivate people, and she talked about how do I get there, what do I have to do, and I said you need to travel, and I suggested that you need to go back to Africa and meet your own people, and she was like, no, I don't want to, and I was like, well, but why not? And she was like, oh, it's just like all the bad things that are there, like poverty and war, and the Nigerians are selfish, blah, blah, blah. And how did you reach this conclusion? You left Nigeria when you were 6. How many people have you known? I mean, there are tens of millions of people in Nigeria. How can you feel so conclusively that they're all negative, there's nothing good there? And one of the things I got with this conversation is that a lot of people have built up their image of Africa and other black people from that place from the media. And this is what I want to get to. We know the media doesn't like black people. We know the media doesn't like Africans. We know the media wants to keep black people in America, the UK, parts of Europe, and everywhere else in the world disconnected from African people. Yeah, even though we know that everyone just accepts what they're saying as the gospel truth and they watch people and their media, even though we know on a conscious and subconscious level that they're against black people. So I suggested, look, first off, you need to turn them off. You need to find sources of media that are devoted to showing Africans as they really are, not as savages, poor, broke, hungry. You know what I mean. That's what I do. When I go on Instagram, I look for people who show Africans and black people in a positive light. There are bad things that happen. We're not denying that, but there are plenty of good things, positive things, people who are progressing and trying to become better and succeeding. Yeah? So that's one of the things that deprogram your mind. And because you have to understand, because I see black people from an outside perspective, so it allows me to be more clearer about what's actually going on with. And she was saying that, oh, she didn't want to go to Nigeria. Like, you want to help people, but you don't want to meet your own people. They say that charity begins at home, yet your own people, you feel an aversion to them. You don't want to be around them, and you view them as a source of chaos and just despair. I mean, can you imagine how dysfunctional and how contradictory this mindset is? All right, I've gone on long enough now. I want to talk about another one. Now, when I was at work, I met this brother who was from Ghana. Well, yeah, that's where his parents are from, but he grew up in this country. And I talked to him about, oh, he should set up his own software business because he was very, very smart. Not he was, he is. He's very, very smart. He has a degree in some kind of IT field that's so advanced I didn't even know it existed. I don't know, advanced hacking or hacking for geniuses or something. And, his skills with the computer or just up there. And one of the things that motivated him to start was he kept telling me about the racism he experienced at work. Like, his boss apparently hired someone over him who had no qualifications just because he didn't like black people, and as a proverbial F you to him, it doesn't matter how qualified you are, I ain't giving you it. I think that's what he said anyway. Again, but anyway. And he said to me, oh, I've given up on the business idea. It isn't selling. And it was very disheartening to hear that because I actually thought of a name for his business. Like, oh, this will be catchy. But he'd given up on it. He said I couldn't sell it. I'm like, yeah, I haven't even been doing it for that long. What, even a year and a half or something? I mean, one of the examples I always use in business is Henry Ford, the Ford Motor Company. Now that was his third company, and he was 45 years old when it finally succeeded. It wasn't an overnight success or even close to it. It took decades of his life before it succeeded. And he just given up. And I thought, I could argue with him and try and persuade him, but it's not my job to motivate people to be their best selves when they don't want to be. It's hard enough just keeping myself motivated. I thought, look, if he doesn't want to do it and he's happy where he is, leave him be. But what I want you to understand is success isn't easy. Becoming the person you want to be, changing the world even in the smallest way, is a hard job. If you just want to change your community, that can take years of work. But if you want to achieve it, it isn't easy. And we have so many people who just give up because they don't see a result or any form of result within a short time frame. Or sometimes they have expectations that are impossible to maintain, like they want to change the entire country. And realistically, that's not going to happen. I mean, it may happen, but the chances of that aren't. And then they can't meet these enormous expectations, and they say, well, it's impossible to achieve anything, so we must give up. No, the key is, first off, have expectations that are realistic, but at the same time ambitious. Like, okay, we want to achieve things within our community. Let's maybe set up a community center, a small thing, and then maybe build it up into something big. Let's use that as an example. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, don't give up on what you want and keep fighting. You only really lose when you stop playing. Yeah. So I want to finish this with a quote I came up with, borrowed partly from the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So here it goes. You guys lost. How come you aren't upset? For a long time, longer than you can possibly imagine, we've been fighting and struggling for our freedom and our independence. This is just a setback. Tomorrow we get up to continue the struggle for our freedom and our independence. This is our birthright. Like the sea hitting the shoreline, we will never give up. Okay, well, if you like that, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave my PayPal in the description and my Instagram as well. Peace, family.